In shutter priority, when you change the shutter speed or how long the shutters stay open, the camera will adjust one of the other two parameters. In this case, the f-stop, or the size of the opening to the sensor, or the ISO. So let's keep it in auto ISO first. In auto ISO, when you now move your dials, let's say now we're going to have a longer exposure time, or say 0.5, or let's do 1 second at f. Now the camera says we need about 125 ISO. But if we want to use a shorter exposure time, say 1/400, that's 1250 ISO we will need. And if we go even faster, we're going to need more light. So you can imagine the ISO is going to be maxed out. All right, again, on shutter priority, if we go to a longer time, let's say 2 seconds, notice how the f-stop changes. That's because it's already reached its lowest ISO. So what the camera is then doing is adjusting the other factor to make sure you're not overexposed, right? So if you're using a longer exposure time, say 3.2, the camera is going to try to balance out the exposure if you're in auto ISO, right? So what it's telling you is that at the minimum ISO of 125, the lowest we can go, so let's go even longer. All right, let's go even longer. All right, so now we're at the lowest ISO. Any longer, we're going to let in more light, and so the computer is going to say we can't go any lower in ISO, so we have to adjust something else. And it's going to adjust now the aperture. That's going to change a bunch of things. If you notice, as the camera changes the f-stop, more things are in focus. The book in the background is now in focus. If you go to a fixed ISO, but it's going to be even more limited with the aperture, because now when you change the shutter speed, the camera is going to adjust the aperture for you, and then that will impact how many things in the scene are in focus, or the depth of field.